Hello, hi. Uh, Good morning again. This is yet another video from Papa Bear. Just talking again about some of the issues that we were talking about earlier, specifically around the boy child or the man child, as it were. And I received quite a bit of feedback from the previous content around what it means to be a man child and what we can do differently as men. Some people told me to cheza chini. Yeah, I'm being too nini. Uh, I'm revealing too many secrets, or I'm being too aggressive. And then a lot of other people are saying, this is good stuff. It's powerful stuff. It's important stuff for people to hear. So I think, by and large, it's a good thing. It's a good discussion that we're having. I want to take it a little bit further and just talk briefly about the man child in each of us. I think every one of us, men, has potential to be a man child, and has man child like behaviors. And specifically to those of us who are fathers and those of us who are aspiring to be fathers, the key thing is to be able to identify what those behaviors are and to ensure that we are dealing with them so that we're not passing them on to our sons or to our daughters. So I'm just going to talk about three things which I think are characteristics that we either need to emulate or need to work on in order for us to eliminate this man-child behavior. Now, first of those is ambition, and I'm looking at ambition rather broadly, in terms of planning, in terms of seeing a world beyond what you currently have, or where you currently are, or what currently exists around you. How ambitious are we as men, as fathers? What new thing are we working towards? What plans do we have for the future? What kind of things are we trying to push or trying to advocate or push towards? What do we see beyond the things that are immediately in our sight or in our vicinity? And ambition is a rather ambiguous term, but I'm using it in the sense that as men, as fathers, we need to be thinking beyond the now, the here and now. We need to be thinking about plans or planning for things that are going to happen in the future. People talk about men who are afraid of the future, who are afraid to commit, and saying that those are people who are men children, because of that lack of ambition. So, what is your drive? What is it that's pushing you? What is it that you're thinking about that's beyond your current circumstances? And what are you doing about that? How are you planning? What are your plans? Where are you? Where do you see yourself 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 years from now? All that is part of ambition. What are we driving towards? That's ambition. That's number one. Number two is responsibility. And responsibility here is about what is it that you take care of? What is it that is in your hands, which if you did not take care of would go south and there'd be consequences? That's what responsibility is. What is it that you are taking care of, which if you did not take care of or if you did not do properly, there would be consequences on you as an individual. That's what responsibility is. And if there's nothing that you have in your hands which you're taking care of, or which the success of which depends on you, then you need to up your level of responsibility. So what are you doing as a father? What kind of things do you have in your care that make you responsible? And to the extent that you're not doing that, or you don't have anything in your life that is your responsibility, then you're likely to exhibit man-child behavior. To be quite frank, you need to be able to have something in your life that you're responsible for. It could be a person, it could be a job, it could be an asset, it could be something, it could be anything, but it's something which you are personally taken care of. And if you do not take care of that thing, then the consequences of that are immediate, or even if not immediate, then they come to you as an individual. That's what defines responsibility. So my question then is, as a father, what are you responsible for? And do you take responsibility where that matter is concerned, or that item or that person is concerned? It could be a child, it could be a relationship, it could be something that you're trying to build, a company, a business, whatever it is. But the idea is that as a man, one of the things that defines manhood is responsibility. So if you don't have responsibility, if you're not taking care of something, then you're likely to be exhibiting man-child behavior. That's number two. Number three is, and I use this term a bit loosely, action or activity, and that speaks to movement or engagement. What are you doing? And that is opposed, or that is in contrast to passiveness or passivity. Action versus passivity. So passivity would be a sense of letting things slide. Let just things be the way they are. You don't have any drive or anything that you're actively doing. Whereas action means that there's certain concrete steps that you're taking, and that's different from ambition, because ambition has more of a planning, more of an aspirational aspect to it. But action is about taking tangible steps in a specific direction. And so, as a man, part of your responsibility, or part of what makes you a man, is the ability to take action and to make steps, or to make moves, and to do stuff. And if you're not doing anything, if you're not actively engaged in any sort of pursuit, whether it could be a work-related pursuit, it could be something, a passion project, but it's something that you're actively working towards, and you're taking steps in a certain direction. Beyond just the planning and the ambition and the thinking and the drive, you're actually taking specific, tangible steps in that direction. That is what defines action. And men are defined by action, what you're doing. We often introduce ourselves based on the work that we do and say, I am so and so, and this is what I do. Because part of being a man is defined by the work that you do and the things that you do. And that's action, that's activity. And that is in stark contrast to passivity. So if you're a passive person, or if you're exhibiting traits of passiveness, where you just let things slide, you've got nothing tangible you're working on, those are man-child behaviors, and we need to stop doing that. So as a man, as a father, what action are you taking? Beyond the planning, beyond the thinking, beyond the strategy, we often have this thing of, I have this big plan, there's this big thing I'm thinking about, there's this big thing that's coming down the pipe. But the question is, what actions are you taking in that direction? And that really determines how successful, or how less of a man-child you are. So yeah, just as fathers, let's think about those three things. What are our ambitions for our children, for our families? What are responsibilities are we taking as fathers over the lives of our families, over the future of our families, and what our kids are going to turn out to be? How responsible are we for that? How responsible do we feel for that? And then thirdly, action. What are we specifically doing in that direction? What steps are we taking to nurture and to engage with our kids in order to grow them, so that when we have those three traits as men, we pass those three traits onto our sons. Then we start to deal with this epidemic of the man-child. Yeah. So remember, it's action, it's responsibility, it's ambition. That's my thinking for today. So if you have any thoughts about this subject, if you have any feedback, if you have any objections, any snide remarks or jokes or whatever, feel free, make a comment at the bottom of the video. Let me know what you think. Send me an email, like the video, share it. Let's get this conversation going. Thank you.